Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's UIF Bulletin. I'm Michael Cardo, the DA Shadow Minister of Employment and Labour. The most concerning thing this week is that we're almost on the 15th of August and applications for July Ters still haven't opened. This is completely unacceptable. We know that May applications opened late at midnight on the 26th of May. Applications for June opened late on the 24th of June, and no sooner had June applications opened than they had to close again because of security data privacy breaches. Then they were only reopened about 2 weeks later. So we're at the 15th of August, July Ters applications haven't opened, and more than that, we don't know exactly what the pay period for July and August is going to be. For example, we don't know whether there will be a separate payment run for August to July, or whether the 1st of July to the 15th of August will be considered as a single pay period, and therefore employers only have to do one single application. So the Minister of Employment and Labour and the UIF need to come out of hiding and give clear direction and communicate to the employers and workers of South Africa about how Ters applications are going to work for the 6-week period of July to 15th of August. Also very concerning at the moment is that payments for June have almost entirely dried up, and April and May payments have been reduced to a trickle. Now, an industry survey was done by the National Employers Association of South Africa, and they found that only 40% of employers had received their Ters money for June. And of those 40% of employers, only about 64% of them had been paid in full. NISA also did a survey of April and May payments, and they found that 12% of employers are still waiting to be paid Ters for April, 28% are still waiting to be paid for May, and for both April and May, payments in full have reached only about 60 to 65% of employers. Of course, this is particularly galling when you consider that every single public servant in South Africa has continued to receive full pay for the duration of the lockdown, and that's even if their workload has been reduced. And we know from the Minister of Public Service and Administration that 84,000 public servants have had their workloads reduced. On top of this, ANC fat cats, their family members and friends are growing even fatter off tenders to do with COVID-19 for personal protective equipment and medical supplies. We know, for example, that Ace Magashule's son has just splashed out on a 2 million rand vehicle off the back of the COVID-19 tender. And in fact, all these ANC cronies are positively choking on the sauce that is fueling the gravy train. Added to that, the Ters scheme has been defrauded. We know that one lucky individual ended up with almost 6 million rand in his bank account, destined for 1,400 workers. But rest assured that the DA is going to ensure that every single one of these ANC cronies who've profited off the misery of hard-working South Africans sees their day in court. Over to Michael Bagram.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Cardo. It's Michael Bagram. I'm the Democratic Alliance Labour spokesperson. The South African workforce is on its knees, and our Department of Unemployment and Starving Labour has done everything in its power to ensure that the UIF is broken. Despite the above, many employers have tried their utmost to claim their emergency insurance from the UIF. Many others have carried on paying to the best of their ability and to ensure that their staff could remain alive. However, there are certain practices that I need to bring to everyone's attention, and certain employers have not been playing the game. These employers need to be condemned, either charged, changed, and obviously we need to improve the system. Firstly, we have discovered that many hundreds of businesses were never registered with the UIF. It is said that one of the benefits of the pandemic is that thousands of these employers have come forward and are now wanting to register and wanting to give their staff the benefits. That registration is going ahead, and it's this crisis that has brought everyone into that circle. This has immensely benefited, for instance, the domestic worker sector, who are probably the most downtrodden of the South African workforce. Daily, I speak to literally dozens of domestic workers who are not registered and could not claim. Their employers have agreed and are desperately trying to register their domestic workers in retrospect. This is a good outcome. Secondly, some employers have registered for the UIF and deducted from the workers, but they have willfully kept the monies which is both fraudulent and immoral. The good thing about the pandemic is that it has exposed these employers, and hopefully the departmental inspectors will ensure prosecution. Unfortunately, this practice has left hundreds of employees starving due to this fraud. Thirdly, a few employers, not many, are using the pandemic as an excuse to let staff stay at home, even when their businesses are running, and saying they must wait for the UIF payments. These employers are insidious, and they are effectively starving their staff into resignation. Many employers understand that the UIF is so dysfunctional that they are not paying and leaving the staff high and dry. This insidious action and practice has exposed and has to be challenged. I call on these employees to approach the CCMA, the bargaining councils, as soon as possible. We need to protect them. Fourthly, there are a few employers who receive the UIF funding but tell their staff that they're going to keep it in order to refund the employer their monies that they paid over to the staff. Also not acceptable. This is illegal in that the repayment can only be done in certain circumstances and by agreement. Some employers pay their staff by way of loans with a specific mandate to pay back this loan via the UIF. This practice must be carefully monitored. We in the Democratic Alliance will be very careful to ensure that the staff and the employees of South Africa are carefully protected against any fraud, whether it be from government or from the employers. So thank you very much for listening to me.